Just a few weeks ago, we published a video on this channel and it did something that was totally unexpected. We had no idea why it did what it did until we started analyzing the data. After I tracked down some very interesting numbers, I now know what happened to the video and why. All right, time to walk you guys through this. Let's take a look first at the analytics. So here it is. This video got 12 times more views from the time of recording this video than our videos normally get. From our perspective, when a video goes 12 times larger than what you usually see on your channel, that is a viral video. But yeah, it's not a million view video, but for our channel, the video went really big. Okay, so the first thing that we always look at when we're analyzing our videos post-publish are number one, click-through rate, and second thing is the average view duration. A lot of times this tells us why a video did or didn't work, or at least it points us in the right direction, right? So that's exactly where I started on this video when I was wondering why this video was getting so many views. I looked at the click-through rate and this is what I found. The click-through rate on this video was like 25% of what the video's click-through rates normally are on our channel. So our click-through rate is typically like 4-ish%, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. The click-through rate on this video was like 1%. Okay, first of all, really weird. The video is getting way more views, but way lower click-through rate. Weird. Okay, immediately from that point, I thought, okay, this video maybe is getting a really high retention. Maybe people are watching all the way to the end. So I went to check the retention numbers, and here's what I saw. The retention numbers were far worse than usual. Typically, we see people watch our videos for 3.5 to 5 minutes on average. This video was watched 1 minute and 7 seconds on average. So click-through rate was terrible. Average view duration was also equally terrible, probably the worst I've ever seen on our channel, but for some reason the video got 12 times more views than normal. From here, I was super confused. I didn't know what it could be at that point, and I was just racking my brain trying to figure out what it could have been that had got this video to get so many views. And I have heard a lot of people talking about on YouTube that things are gonna change in 2025. YouTube is a whole different animal, and maybe that's true. Maybe YouTube likes low click-through rates, and maybe now they like low, no, that's not it. That's not what YouTube's doing. But it was so weird to see this. So from there, I checked the total number of impressions on the video. So you can see from this chart here, the total number of impressions, sort of that impression curve that we see up into where it sort of trails off. And I wondered if maybe we had just gotten a lot more impressions on this video than we normally did. So even if the click-through rate was low, maybe we just got a million more impressions than normal. And so even with the lower click-through rate, we just got more views. And I looked at the impressions, and the impressions were like maybe a little higher than normal, but barely higher than normal. And I looked at other videos that we have recently published on the channel, and they had nearly the same number of impressions. And so in this case, it definitely wasn't the impressions that made this video successful. At this point, the last thing that I could think to look at was, where did this traffic come from? Was this browse traffic? Was it suggested traffic? And so when I went to take a look at where the traffic came from, that is where I found my answer. Believe it or not, the majority of this traffic was not browse, it was not suggested, it was search traffic. Now, you would have thought, okay, well, search traffic, there would still be impressions in there, right? You would have seen higher impressions, maybe a lower click-through rate, but still not as bad as you would have seen. Here's the deal. The search traffic views that we got weren't from YouTube. Some of them were, don't get me wrong, some of them were, but the majority of them were from Google search. Somehow this video got picked up on Google. We ended up ranking really high for the search phrases that people were looking for, and compared to our normal videos, it caused this video to get tons more views than normal. In fact, 84% of the total views on this video came from Google search, with the remaining percentage of views coming actually from YouTube, browse, suggested, and YouTube search. Now let's dive into some of the most interesting takeaways I got from this and the how you can replicate this so that you can 10x or 20x the views on your videos. All right, takeaway number one, the thing that kind of interested me most particularly was that even though the stats on YouTube were not good on this video, the click-through rate was terrible, the average view duration was terrible, Google was still pushing this video. Google saw the video was a good fit. Now, I think what we can learn from that is that Google has different indicators on what makes something successful or not, right? So on Google search, when people are typing something into Google, what Google sees as a success is when someone clicks in and then they stay on the page. And that page would have been our video. Now, in many cases, for someone to stay on the page for a minute or longer means that that thing that they clicked onto did a pretty good job. So even though the average view duration on our video was only just over a minute, from Google's perspective, that's a really good thing. So it was super interesting to me that even though our YouTube stats were low from YouTube's perspective, from Google's perspective, they were actually pretty good, and that allowed Google to keep pushing traffic to this video. The second thing that was really interesting to me is that even though there were a ton of views being pushed over from Google, it really didn't impact YouTube's algorithm and how YouTube was treating the video. Because like I would have thought or hoped maybe that since Google was pushing a lot of views that YouTube would have said, oh, there must be something here, maybe we should push this out to more people. That just didn't happen. Our stats on YouTube were still low. Again, the click-through rate, the average view duration, it just wasn't where it needed to be for YouTube to push it out, and Google's traffic did not impact that at all. In fact, I think it was Google's traffic that sort of made the stats a little bit lower, and there's something to be learned from that I want to talk about here in just a minute. And the third thing that I want to mention is, oh, I guess I didn't have a third thing. Okay, so let's talk about the how. How can you have this happen on your videos? Well, first of all, you need to optimize your video for search. A lot of times people on YouTube educators often talk about the browse and the suggested traffic, and they really forget search traffic. And I understand why they do that, because the majority of views on the YouTube platform come from browse and suggest. You don't want to sleep on those. You really need to be working toward getting better browse and suggested traffic. However, there are a lot of views still in the search traffic portion of YouTube, and for a lot of smaller YouTubers, you can capitalize on those views a little bit easier than you can in the browse and suggest. So it's a great place to get started, and at very least, you can optimize for both. You don't have to just pick one or the other. You can do both. So the first thing you need to think about is, what do people actually need from a search standpoint? When I'm typing a question into Google as a viewer or a searcher, I'm looking for one specific answer. So when you're thinking about what your video is good for from a search perspective, you need to think about what questions do you answer? What could somebody learn or understand based on your video? And from that, you can add those types of things to your description. You know, you should give a good, solid description of what's inside of your video. Something else that you should probably do is also add timestamps to your video. Timestamps are really, really good from a search perspective, because again, it's just one more piece of data that helps YouTube and Google understand what's inside of your video. I did a bit of an experiment on our video that took off. I didn't do timestamps initially, and the average view duration was 1 minute and 7 seconds. Now let me check really quick right now. I think after I added timestamps, the average view duration did go up on the video, not by a ton, but it did improve it a little bit. So let me look at that number really quick. All right, here's the graph that I was looking for. You can see that our average view duration was pretty low throughout. After the initial bump from our regular audience, all the search traffic started coming, and we just had pretty low average view duration. But I think it was right here around day 6 that I added the timestamps, and you can see from there, the view duration has just been going up, all the way up to 1 minute and 50 seconds, and then peaking at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So adding the timestamps helps people understand what the sections of your videos are about, and it's gonna keep people on your video longer. And the biggest value to that is, as you get good search traffic and you get people staying on your videos longer, then your statistics will improve. The average view duration, as it raises, will encourage YouTube's algorithm to once again start pushing your video out to the browse and suggest. So they can totally work together so that you can capitalize the best on the search traffic and then the best on the browse and suggest traffic. Something else that might just help are YouTube tags. I don't think that they're gonna add that much value to your video, but again, if it just helps YouTube understand a little bit better what your video is about, what you're covering, specific words or phrases you're using, then they might help just a little bit. And remember, don't forget about the external search traffic as well. We're not talking just about YouTube search, which is great. YouTube search is really, really important. And when you are doing YouTube search, I should add really quick, make sure that your title and thumbnail speak to what's in the video. If you are really just 100% targeting search, your title and your thumbnail can be pretty on the nose. You want it to be pretty on the nose so that people know what to expect when they click into your video. Now, again, going back to that external traffic, when you have external traffic coming to your video, you are capitalizing on other platforms. You're going off YouTube and you're gathering audience off of YouTube and bringing them onto your channel. If you want to know how to grow your channel in the most strategic way possible, without cutting corners, without wasting your time, your precious time, go check out this video where we talk about the entire process from growing your channel from 0 up to the successful channel that you want it to be. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Thanks for joining us in this video, channel makers. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. It's good to be here with you. I should have introduced myself earlier. I'm Nathan, one of the hosts of Channel Makers, and we will see you guys in the next video.